Not far from the Arctic Circle, in the frozen wilderness of Sweden, a bearded man struggles to build less boring cars. These are the chronicles of his efforts.
In this week's episode, we're going to get our head on straight. We're going to fix valve train and general service, so we don't fail our finished bottom end. Removing the lifters is very easy. Piece of pliers, or you can use your fingers, but these are messy and sticky. And you remove the lifter. And I put it in the designated area where it belongs. And then you just keep on going like this. And underneath, it's hard to see, but down there is the valve and the valve spring. And to remove those, we have to use some tricks. To be able to remove the spring, I have to remove two small metal pieces sitting here around the center. And to do so, I use a big clamping tool. It goes all the way around, attaches to the rests at the top of the spring, and when I compress this tool, I should be able, with a bit of luck, to just push out the small metal pieces, holding the spring in place, like so, and not losing them, hopefully. So when I actually manage to remove two of them, the spring will quite easily slide off. So that's the second one. And remove the tool, like so. And I can move the valve spring. Like so. Put the out of view, and I can push out the valve through the head, and they look like this. This is an exhaust valve, that's why it's really white and I've seen a lot of heat, but they don't seem damaged, so that's good. Here we can see my great organizational skills at work. We have squares. And this is cylinder number 1, and this is the intake, it says in, and there's the exhaust, it says ut, out in Swedish. And so I organized all the cylinders so you can see where every valve is going to return to the head. And now, if we turn over to the head, so this is what a cylinder head looks like when its valves are missing. Woohoo! It's just holes. You can see still the spark plugs are still there in the middle. And I can show you if I turn on the lights and I shine through an intake valve, you can see, ooh, those are the intake valves. And I can do the same thing from the other way around. If I can just, ooh, that's the exhaust valves. And now I have removed all the valves, and as you can see here on the edge, you can see like a speckled line where it's kind of looks like dirt. It's actually like soot residue and burnt pieces. And also on this edge there is some dirt. To remove that, we're going to use a fine paste and the valves themselves to polish it. You take a valve like this, and you take some of this fine paste and you put paste on the valve. You don't need very much. This is a grinding paste, and then you put it where it's supposed to go, like so. Ugh. then you turn it, which doesn't really work right now. To make the valves turn, I have this, and it looks like a really small plunger. And I push it down, and you can grind the valve in place. And when you pop it out again, the edge is much prettier than before, and you have removed all the dirt, small soot particles and things that have gotten stuck over the years. I now cleaned the entire surface and removed all the polishing paste. And as you can see, they are really shiny and nice, and all the coal residue and burnt pieces are removed, so a new and shiny surface. So now let's turn everything over again. You can see down here, there and over there, that's where the valve stems come up, and so it won't suck air through these holes around the stem of the valve. We're going to mount these little buggers on them. If you can get some zoom on it, that is the seal for the valve stem, and they're really easy to mount. Take one, aim for a hole, when you get it there, you push it down with your fingers and it snaps into place. And these are for the intake side of the engine, and we also have other ones in a slightly different color. They look like this. They are brown rubber and gray metal. They are going to go on the exhaust side. I have skipped ahead and already mounted all the intake valve springs, because you don't want to see me do this 16 times. But now we're going to mount an exhaust spring, and they work exactly the same. They actually look the same. That's why we numbered them, so we get the right spring in the right place. So here comes the spring and its retainer. And then I have this big spring compressor, and hopefully I will hit the head of the valve on the other side. And like so. The spring is now compressed, and in there we're going to put the small retainers that keep the spring from flying away. And they are tiny and they're finicky, and you don't want to lose them. And that is why you don't want to see me have to do this 16 times. So, I have remounted all the springs, all the washers, all the retainers, everything is back in place. And then I put in the push plates, or what do you call them? And the silvery part, the one that you can see rotate here, that's the actual surface where the camshafts impact to open the valves. And these have different thickness and are individual for all the cylinders. That's where you put them back the same order you took them away. The thing is, I have to tighten the head bolts before I put in the camshafts, because the camshafts are in the way. So I will do that later on, but now the head is actually in place on the engine block. Gaskets are in place. Now I've finally gotten my hands on the torque wrench, and what it does is that you can, by adjusting the handle, you can set the torque, that is how tight you connect screws, tighten screws. So don't pull them too hard and that you pull them even. With the settings correct for the amount of torque, I can now start tightening the screws. And you can hear that loud snap. That is the screw being tightened the correct amount. Like so. After you have tightened all the bolts to a certain degree, these are also supposed to be angled, or that's fishing, but they're going to be tightened to a specific angle. So if I put down the key, like so, I should pull 90 degrees from here, so all the way over there, and repeat on all bolts. As you can see over here, a small dot on one of the teeth on the gear, and on the other side we have a matching one over there. They're barely visible. That is your indication that the timing of the camshafts are right. And to confuse matters, we also have a dot over here, and we have extra dots over there. But those are called installation marks, and we're now using what's called timing marks. And for some reason you have to know the difference. Luckily I have a manual, or else this wouldn't have worked at all. So, now our core engine has its head screwed on right, hopefully. And now we're going to start work on peripherals. We have already mounted water pump and oil pump and like small things, but now we're going to put on like injectors and intake manifolds and stuff like that. Soon we'll have a running engine. And leave comments below, as they used to say on the YouTubes. And until next time, have a good day.